Huge rivalry game on the court today. Michigan at Michigan State. Who came away with the win and bragging rights? We have highlights and reaction from the Breslin Center. Spring training is right around the corner, just 15 days away. In a Sports Overtime exclusive, I talked with Detroit Tigers third baseman Nick Castellanos about the upcoming season. Signing day in college football is Wednesday, the 1st of February. So with the end of January near, I'll recap a crazy month for Western Michigan football and go one-on-one with new head coach Tim Lester. 1 week until Super Bowl 51 in Houston, so the NFL stars came out in full force tonight at the Pro Bowl in Orlando. A return to the old-fashioned AFC versus NFC matchup, all that and more, coming up on Sports Overtime. Hello and welcome to Sports Overtime. I'm Zach Sabanek. What a difference a year makes. Last year when Michigan and Michigan State met on the hardwood, the Spartans were the veteran squad. Today, MSU started 3 true freshmen while the Wolverines trotted out 4 upperclassmen. Big game in the standings with each team at 4-4 in the conference. Also a big game as part of Coaches versus Cancer Week. Spartans getting amped, Wolverines getting settled in. In the first, Miles Bridges takes the feed from Aaron Harris in the corner, fakes, drives baseline, and flushes it home. That gave the Spartans a 7-point lead, their biggest of the first half. But Michigan responded with a 9-0 run, capped here by Derek Walton Jr., hanging and hitting. 2 of his game-high 24 points. The Spartans, however, closed the half, scoring 10 of the final 14 points. Matt McQuaid from downtown, part of that stretch, as Sparty took a 4-point lead into the break. Second half now, off the screen, Walton Jr. from behind the arc sinks it to tie the game at 34. Then shortly after, Mo Wagner works in the post, backs down, leans in, and hits the hook. Wolverines up 40-39, but it was all Michigan State from there. Cassius Winston, hard to the hole, flips it up through contact, and in. Part of a 12-2 run to open things up. Winston at 16, and now with the shot clock winding down, Winston just barely catches iron with the heave. Bridges there for the follow dunk. He had 15 points, 13 boards. That put MSU up 12, and the Wolverines would get no closer than 4 the rest of the way. MSU makes it 5 straight over their rival, 70-62.
Well, there's definitely pressure on these kids, you know. I mean, that's no secret to anybody, and somehow get all the sound bites on this. Our crowd made a difference. The crowd made a difference. I mean, it's just the way it is. And I'm not saying they don't all the time, but it made a big difference. And players said it at halftime.
I feel like we started off the game like really rugged. We didn't really get a lot of rebounds. But at the end of the game, we picked it up and we started playing Spartan basketball.
Got to play through physical contact, We did not do it in the first half. And I can't wait to show it to our guys. Not to berate them, just show them what we're talking about.
A lot of times, it's kind of just when you're not physical on defense. My personal opinion, I think that we weren't physical enough on offense. Like I said, we weren't kind of blowing through the bumper, settling for a lot of jumpers, myself included. And that's not what it takes to win.
In perhaps the greatest tennis rivalry ever, Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal had met 34 times prior to this morning's Australian Open final. Nadal entered leading the series 23-11, but Federer looked to close the gap and, more importantly, capture a Grand Slam singles title for the first time since 2012, Wimbledon. With the match squared at 2, Federer led 5-3 in the third set, serving in the second championship point. Off Nadal's return, Federer rockets a forehand winner right here, right down the line. The play was challenged by Nadal, but upheld by replay, so the 35-year-old Federer takes down his rival in a thriller, 6-4, 3-6, 6-1, 3-6, 6-3. The win was the 5th career Australian Open singles championship for Federer, and it extends his all-time record to 18 career Grand Slam titles, 4 ahead of Nadal and Pete Sampras, who are tied for second with 14. The women's singles final of the Australian Open marked the 28th meeting between the Williams sisters, with number 1 seed Serena at 35 years old and the 17 seed Venus at 36. Both players are approaching the twilight of their careers, making this matchup early Saturday morning a little extra special. Serena started the match nervously, dropping serve twice, but finished strong. The ace right here to take the first set, 6-4. But Venus, in the Aussie final for the first time since 2003, took the lead in the second set, Beautiful shot down the line off the return. Look at that to go up 2-1. But Serena would not be outdone. This rally serving as championship point. 6-4, 6-4. Serena captures her 23rd major, setting the record for the Open era, and now only one back of the all-time leader, Margaret Court, who has 24 overall Grand Slam titles. It was also the 7th Australian Open title for Serena. 2 weeks from tomorrow, pitchers and catchers for the Detroit Tigers report to camp in Lakeland, Florida. Recently, at the West Michigan Whitecaps Winter Banquet, I caught up with Tigers third baseman Nick Castellanos to get his take on 2017 and much more. Right now I'm joined by Detroit Tigers third baseman Nick Castellanos. Nick, thanks for coming to West Michigan.
Oh, it's good to be here. I love coming back to the city.
Well, I have to ask, just because I've had my name pronounced a million times, a million different ways, how many renditions of your last name have you heard over the years over ballpark?
There's like 4 or 5, pronounce the L's, don't pronounce the L's. The S is there at the end. Sometimes the S isn't there on the end. If Mr. Nabrowski says it, there's a big I in it, so I don't know. As long as it sounds like it's in the ballpark, it really doesn't bother me too much.
Well, you're coming off one of your best years as a Tiger. How do you build on that personally?
Just continue to grow. Just realize that as good as the year last year was, there's still more in the tank. And just continue to learn and have a hunger to be better in every aspect of the game.
Now, Justin Verlander recently said he's too old to be part of a rebuild, and I think the organization kind of took that to heart this offseason. Everybody heard about big moves that were supposed to be made, and you guys kind of stayed quiet. How do you feel this team is prepared to attack 2017?
I feel like we are prepared, I think that if we stay healthy, there's no reason that we don't run away with this division. The Cleveland Indians had our number, but we weren't never really firing on all cylinders. So the only thing that we could say is that we're thankful that they gave us a second chance.
Now, being in the division with the Indians, does that add a little more pressure to you guys to kind of surpass the team that went to the World Series last year?
And we definitely want to beat, every team that we play. Are we thinking that, we have to go in because it's the Cleveland Indians division? No. I think that if we go out and we play Tigers baseball, then we're going to be just fine.
And then last one I got for you, just in terms of coming back to West Michigan, just what's it like to come back to this community, place that you're familiar with, and to give back to a Tigers-loving area?
Oh, I love it. I say the same thing every year. I grew up in this city, and the fact that it was my first year away from home, my first time, learning how to do things on my own without, the comfort of my parents or being at my house that I grew up in. So, they went through all my growing pains as a 19-year-old kid, and they stuck with me. So, for that, I'm always going to have a good place for Grand Rapids in my heart.
Yep. Awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing you on the diamond this year. Coming up after the break on Sports Overtime, I'll take you through the NHL All-Star Games, which division took home a $1 million prize. Stick with us. The NHL All-Star Weekend wrapped up today with a little 3-on-3. Players selected to the All-Star teams split up into their respective divisions for a shot at $1 million. In the first semifinal, it was the Central Division going up against the Pacific Division. And this matchup was all Pacific. Up 3-1, Brent Burns on the breakaway, nifty backhand goal. That's all the scoring they would need. Johnny Goodrow, scored twice to help the Pacific team advance to the title game, 10-3. They roll big time. And the other semifinal was a little closer. The Metropolitan Division facing off with the Atlantic Division. Tied at 3, rookie sensation Austin Matthews gathers the loose puck and lights the lamp. That put the Atlantic team out front. Now tied at 4, Seth Jones does some magic, works his way in, cuts across, and beats the netminder. Metro Division never looked back, 10-6 to move on to the championship game. So for all the marbles, it was the Metro versus the Pacific. 3-2 Pacific lead, and Cam Atkinson takes it in, stoned the first time around, but stays with it, puts it in the upper net. He had 3 goals on the day. That squared things at 3. Shortly after, right from the faceoff, Taylor Hall collects it, the 2-on-0, over to Wayne Simmons for the game winner. He scored 3 goals on the afternoon, named MVP as the Metro takes home the big check 4-3 over the Pacific team. On the ice in the ECHL, the K-Wings and Wheeling Nailers met up at Wings Event Center, and it was Slappy the mascot's birthday. In the first, Peter Schneider hits Lane Scheidel, who finds the wide open net. K-Wings on the board first, and they put up a 5 spot on Wheeling, topping the Nailers 5-4 this afternoon. Stick with us here on Sports Overtime. I'll recap the crazy month of January for the Western Michigan football program, going one-on-one with the Broncos athletic director and new head football coach. Signing day in college football is Wednesday. That can only mean one thing for Western Michigan. The crazy month of January will be in the rear view. It was quite a month for the Broncos. On January 2nd, they lost to Wisconsin in the Cotton Bowl. Less than a week later, on the 6th, their leader and head coach, PJ Fleck, bolted for the same position with Minnesota. So the coaching search was on, and a week after Fleck's departure, athletic director Kathy Beauregard announced they had found their guy. Tim Lester, who played quarterback for WMU in the late 90s and most recently served as quarterbacks coach at Purdue, is the new sheriff in town. I am joined by Western Michigan Athletic Director Kathy Beauregard. And Kathy, obviously, big day, great day to be a Bronco. Take us through what made Tim the guy.
Well, there's no doubt about it that Tim Lester, we want to welcome home as our new head football coach. I have had a relationship with Tim since he played here, which we don't really need to say how many years that's been. However, he told me he's 40, so I think I can put that together. The opportunity for Tim to be able to come to us with the experience of his huge success as a head coach at Elmhurst, the opportunity for him to be able to spend time in the Atlantic, the ACC, which expanded his horizons tremendously, and the same thing with the Big Ten, just being last at Purdue from that aspect. So he had grown tremendously in his own experiences from even the last time we made a hire. He actually moved forward at some of the advice of me, if this is what he really wants to do, that this is what some of those characteristics he's going to have to do. And the character that Tim comes in with, the love for this great university, and a chance to bring them home and engage the alumni and keep the momentum moving forward. That's number one. We had an unbelievable season under Coach Fleck. We thank him for what we had. We now know we're a much better program than we were. The opportunity here with Tim is we wanted to bring somebody in that would listen to our student athletes, and by listening to them, they'd figure out what parts we want to continue from our past leadership, and the athletes being able to give their input regarding that and put his own stamp on the program. But our momentum and our energy moving forward from where we've been, definitely feel at this time it's a great chance for all of us, all the Broncos, to be bonded by the relationship that we have with him coming home.
So on Saturday, January 14, Tim Lester was formally introduced by Western Michigan to, in a sense, end the search for leadership with the program. He takes over the football program that went 13-1 last season, and they have eyes set on an even bigger prize. I'm joined by new Western Michigan head football coach, Tim Lester. Tim, welcome home, and take me through, I mean, not many coaches get to start at a university and then come back and lead the team. What is that feeling like to be a part of the Western Michigan family once again?
It's exciting now. It's been a wild 24 hours of real, and you know, I'm excited about the future. I mean, my mind's spinning. I don't even think I've truly appreciated it yet. You know, seeing all these guys, people, coaches that have coached me, Coach Kuhlman, who recruited me here. I got to see Kathy and Denny and all those guys, and Monty and Jeff during my interviews and stuff. But it's just an unbelievable feeling to be back at a place that you care so much about. You know, you care about every job you go to. You care about the student athletes. You don't always live and die about the school. You just care about. I cared about all my student athletes at Purdue and about at Syracuse and everywhere else. But I mean, I love this place. I mean, I love it, and it helped mold me into who I am today, and all of us. And so to be able to come back and lead it is a special thing. And I think it's just going to get, once I calm down in a day or two, I think it'll just keep. I'll just have a smile on my face.
You know, fans are the past 4 years have been used to the human Energizer Bunny walking around in PJ Fleck. And you, from everything that I've heard from fans who watched you as a player, a steady leader is kind of what I've heard you described as.
Yeah.
Can you talk about what your kind of coaching philosophy and mannerisms will be and what fans can expect?
I'm very calm. You know, I'm very calm. I'm never too high, never too low. I'm always smiling, always. In the middle of the game, it doesn't matter. I mean, nothing's going to be too big or too small. In absence of emotion on the sideline, when the players don't know what to do, they're going to look. at me, and I want to make sure we're not going to get too high, we're not going to get too low, we're going to keep playing. And I was like that as a player because you can't be emotional and be a quarterback. So that was one of the things that helped me play, and it's helped me coach because I can think calmly in any situation and make decisions when we need to. So that's definitely something that they'll see. And the funny thing is, people say I have a ton of energy. Now I'm being compared to the champ, which I get, and I'm friends with him. And he's a great guy and done great things here. And I appreciate what he did for this place. And I'm looking forward to trying to continue to build the culture that he started and make it better and better and better. And I know that's what he wants to. But I think the thing that makes him special is that he's got a lot of energy and he's throwing all these things at you. But the kids understood that he cared about them. That's bottom line. When the kids knew he cared, they responded. And I will be me. I think they will get that. They'll understand that I care and I care about them, and they'll respond the same way. It just won't be delivered quite the same way. And I don't think any two coaches deliver the messages the same way anyway. But it'll be heartfelt.
Now, this program is perhaps at an all-time high, as where it's at on a platform on a national level. How do you keep that going? How do you just get rid of any sort of thought of mediocrity coming back and maintain that elite level? It's hard.
I mean, we're going to lose some really good players. I mean, there's some NFL caliber, multiple NFL caliber players that are leaving. So, in a cycle of PJ's first recruiting cycle is now complete, and his guys that he came in young and played, got to be seniors, so that, same thing in our 10-2 year at Elmhurst was the same year, and this is the turn year. So, to expect us to go out there and be undefeated, we're going to have young players. They're going to be great workers. They're going to be great athletes because of the great recruiting they've done. But we're not going to have a ton of experience. We're going to have a freshman quarterback or a young quarterback, not a freshman. We're going to have a quarterback out there that's inexperienced, not freshman. But so there's challenges there. But our culture will still even the score, and we can still be in every single game. It definitely won't be, and I understand that. Anyone that says they were 13-0 last year, they should be 13-0 again. That's going to be very difficult. It's not that we're not going to try to beat USC in game one, but the big thing we need to know is that the culture that's been provided to us we'll be younger, but the culture will help us continue to be in games. But it's good. There's definitely some building to do when you lose a guy like Zach and Corey. You just don't replace those guys, and we know that. And we have guys that I think are excited to be the guys. You should be raising your hand saying, I want to be the next Zach, and I want to be the next Corey Davis, So, and we got people that want to do that. Now they got to go out there and show it, which is the fun part. That's when you really know you got to build. Is after those first 4 years and the first senior class that got to play young and get all their bumps and bruises out. Like I got to play young and I stunk as a freshman, and I started figuring it out, and I turned out to be okay my last year. But that's how you build a program, and this will be the year that we need to continue to push and get through this lacking of experience, and then continue to keep it at a high level every single year in, year out.
Well, as we wind down Sports Overtime, we're going bowling in the final segment. NFL Pro Bowl, that is. I probably won't dance as well as that guy did. Highlights coming up next. In a return to normalcy, somewhat, the NFL Pro Bowl got back to its roots. Team AFC against Team NFC. Let's head down to Orlando. Holland Christian product Kirk Cousins, part of the NFC squad, as well as Detroit Lions kicker Matt Prater. In the fourth, Prater connected here from 42 yards out. And then, once again, this one from 46 to cut the NFC deficit to 2013. Then Cousins led his troops on the 2-minute drill. One of 14 completions for Cousins on 20 attempts, right here to Doug Baldwin. But it was Baldwin's teammate in Seattle, Jimmy Graham, who let the game-tying touchdown catch go right through his fingers. AFC tops Cousins, Prater in the NFC 20-13. To the Lynx, final round of the Farmers Insurance Open. Patrick Rogers and Brant Snedeker entered the day tied for the lead at 9 under, but the day and tournament belonged to John Rahm, sealing his first PGA Tour win with this monster putt. 3 eagles in the tournament for Rahm as he finished at 13 under par. We are down to the final moments of Sports Overtime. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Zach Sapanik. Thank you for staying up late with us. We'll see you next week.
Draymond Green, end to end. 3 seconds. Curry from half court. Oh! He puts it in at the buzzer. In this league, and he's got a unique